Hi, this is just a quick video. I know that I try and do a tea and chat on a Tuesday. I've almost finished my antibiotics. My biggest worry is that they're going to try and put me on some more because they haven't had any blood test results back since they last tested me. So they're not entirely sure what sorry, let's get it right. My GP's not entirely sure what the antibiotics are for that the hospital gave. But as I've said, and I've always said, if my cough was getting better, then I would say that I was prescribed the antibiotics for my cough, which would then be classed as a bacterial infection and not a virus. But what the antibiotics have actually done is made my legs heal a lot quicker. They're not healed completely, but they're a lot better than what they have been over the last 3 months. And I know how reluctant the GPs are to give out antibiotics because so many people now are becoming resistant to antibiotics, which again is why I don't like them putting me on them unless it's important or, they feel like it's imperative to do so. So hopefully, once my bloods have been done again, I'll try and get that booked in next week. They'll have a more clear understanding as to whether or not I still have an infection. And if I do have an infection, I've been told it's probably not septicemia, which is fantastic because that is so dangerous for people to have. It is one of those sort of like time critical infections, basically, like that if not treated within a certain time frame can kill you. It's the same like with appendicitis. So like if your appendix were to erupt or other internal organs that can potentially, if they have an infection or something happens to them, can be quite life-threatening. So with myself, like I said, I have been one of these women who has had to have their gallbladder out. I had mine out in my 30s instead of my 40s. And so again, whenever I have any like pain in my abdomen or in my chest cavity, the first thing they'll say to me is, oh, is it your gallbladder? Sorry. No, they won't say, is it your gallbladder? They'll say, I'm so disorientated. I will say to them, I don't have a gallbladder. And that will then make them make a decision as to whether or not I have to go into hospital. Because if I still have my gallbladder, 9 times out of 10, they would say, oh, go see your doctor. As long as you're not showing any of the following symptoms, you're fine. But because I've had that organ removed, and based on my past medical history, they have had to test things like my spleen, my kidneys, my liver. And fingers crossed, at the moment, they are not showing any signs of like inflammation or, cause for me to like have a scan or anything. But the one thing they have said to me is if my blood levels do increase again, then they may have to do a test on my bone marrow. They told me this, I think it was last year, but at the time they weren't worried. They said, you've kind of leveled out. We're happy with the baseline. We're not going to worry. But like I said, when I managed to finally get into my doctor's, he did say to me, like, you've been tested for leukemia, haven't you? And I was like, yes, I have. Right. Have you been tested for JAX2? And I was like, yes, I have. And he was like, and did they come back negative? And I said, yes, they did. And he said, well, when was that? And I said, sometime last year. And he went, right, okay, we'll go back to the drawing board and start again. Because the main concern is now that I am in my 40s, that I could potentially end up with leukemia. They're not saying I will, but they just want to rule it out because, unfortunately, if I was to get leukemia, there isn't a cure. I mean, I could go down the routes of chemo or radio, and stuff, but the way I look at it is I'm 40, I'm 41. Hopefully I don't have to make that decision. But as I've said before, the only reason I feel like I'm still alive right now is for my children and to take care of my children and to hopefully teach them to take care of themselves. I mean, I lost my dad in my 20s from a brain tumour, and other cancers do run in my family. But, I would not personally want to be sitting in hospital tied to machines and stuff that may or may not give me another few months to live. I would probably do what a friend, well, I want to say friend because I'd known him for a while. When he found out he had cancer, he literally refused to go to hospital. And what he did was he sold his business. He put everything in his, set up everything financially for his children. He wasn't very old. He was probably in his 40s as well. And he then spent whatever money he had and he went on holiday with his children. And he said, I'm going to take them to the seaside. I'm going to take them, to every place he could within the UK. I don't think he went abroad because the insurance wouldn't have covered him. But he said, I'm not going to be in hospital. And, and bless him, that's what he chose to do. And I was so proud of him, and I know that his kids were proud of him as well. So I don't want to be prophesizing doom. I guess the reason why I'm feeling this way today is because I used to work for Bedworth Civic Hall when it was open. It closed for 4 years due to funding and has now reopened as a charity. And I was on Facebook this afternoon, and Tim Norton, who was the manager of Bedworth Civic Hall and worked for the Neaton and Bedworth Borough Council, he died this week. He died in a car crash. So that's really upset me. And then last week, a girl I went to school with, it was her funeral. And she was younger than me. I mean, I'm 41. She was only in her 30s. And, and my kids are aware of the people that have died. They've never met them. But, I literally burst into tears on the sofa this afternoon. And even my little boy kept going, Mommy, what's happened? And I was like, my manager's died. And he's like, you don't work? And I'm like, I don't at the moment, but somebody I used to work with and for has just died. And if anything, it's just proved to me, and it proves to everybody when someone passes away, is how short life really is and how precious it is. So hopefully I'm not prophesizing doom. Obviously I'll go and have the blood test and chest x-rays if they think that I need them. But if they were to say the inevitable, then I know that my dad, if the hospital had been honest with him, he wouldn't have stayed in and he wouldn't have had the operation. He would have just come home, spent the rest of the month with us as a family, and then probably, hopefully, would have fell asleep and not woke up. And the amount of people that I have spoken to over the years who have said that they would just like to just close their eyes one night and then just not wake up in the morning. But unfortunately, we don't get to make that choice. It's not in our hands to do so unless you are able to make the decision of euthanasia. But that is a whole different ballgame. So I hope everyone is safe and well and enjoying the holidays. But again, I'm going to say it again. As I've spoken to a lot of people at the hospital recently, they all got told the same thing. If in doubt, come in. We would rather people came in and sat in a hospital waiting room and then got told they were safe and well and could go home than to not come in at all. And please, anyone, again, if you're going to be abusive or aggressive or to anybody on social media, in any of the comments you make about my videos, then those comments will be removed. There's no need for it. Sorry. So, like I said, take care and fingers crossed, hopefully, things will be a lot better. And if you do have the opportunity, oh gosh, I've still forgotten her name. It's Jenny. She's a model, and she has a disability. I forget the name of the disability that she has. But she's got like her own Facebook page and YouTube channel and everything. And she's brilliant. Her videos are absolutely amazing. And one of the things I saw that she was showing on her YouTube video recently in Facebook group was like bathing and stuff for people who are disabled. So I just can't think of the name of her YouTube group. I'm so sorry. But yeah, her name is Jenny. So if you were to Google, you probably find loads of Jennies. But once I can remember her Facebook page and group, what I'll do is I'll write, as long as YouTube don't remove it, her name and her YouTube page. Because I tell you what, she's such an inspiration. And I'm so glad that I have found her on social media and that she's out there and she's like product testing stuff for people and one thing and another. So again, it's people like that are really making a difference in the world. And, trying to support one another is the key, I think, to life. That, we try to help ourselves first, obviously. If you can't take care of yourself, how can you take care of anyone else? But if you can obviously pass on any knowledge or wisdom, then it can be a huge asset and benefit to others.